Hi, this is Greg Brickrell, one of the co-founders at Career.pm, and I have heard in less than a week two sources that I respect a lot say that product managers should only stick to the problem. They really shouldn't have an opinion about the solution, that is something that engineering does. And with all due respect, I couldn't disagree more. So I thought it was a topic that was worth addressing head on. So let's first look at some definitions. Problem space, all the stuff that has to do with problems, irrespective of their solution, and we all have problems. The solution space is all the information that has to do with things that solve those problems, and it's a many-to-many relationship. One problem can be solved by multiple solutions. One solution can solve multiple problems. So when we think about product management and accountability, I would say that product managers have to have a foot very firmly in both spaces. That is your job, is to bridge these things. Others are saying that you should stay in the problem space. You should understand that, and engineering is responsible for developing a solution. First of all, let's talk about why we should separate these two. You should first analyze the problem, validate it with the market or proxies for the market, because we have a tendency as humans to jump to solutions before we understand the problem. That means we develop solutions that are suboptimal. If you look at the problem space, you will get insight that you can't get any other way. And the problem space is less volatile. We've had the same problems for eons. We're finding new solutions all the time to them. And there are a bunch of other reasons, including the fact that understanding the market's problems helps you build empathy, really helps you understand the pain that others feel and what it takes to solve it. So it's important that you, as a product manager, first understand the problem, document them, validate them, before you go off and think about the solution, jump into a prototype. This is where I think people kind of fly off the rails. We think about the solution as one monolithic thing that gets implemented, but actually it's more complicated than that. We can look at a solution from at least two angles. One is the functional angle. That's outside in. That's how the market or customers see your product. There's also a technical perspective, which is inside out. It has to do with the implementation. These are different perspectives. When I bought this laptop that I'm recording this on, it looked like a laptop. The people selling it to me were technicians, and in their heads, they could see the motherboard and the graphics card and all that stuff. They almost see something different. They certainly have a different perception of what this laptop is. I've never opened it. I have no idea what's inside of it. Could be sand. So I, like most customers, just look at it from the outside in. I know when I press a key what should happen on the screen, that kind of thing. So let's take a concrete example and dive a little further into these different perspectives. We can have a problem, an arbitrary problem. It rains. One solution to staying dry is an umbrella. Pretty straightforward, right? So what I see is there's not much discussion about the problem. I think we're all aligned that we need to understand the problem. Once again, where things kind of go left is when we think about the solution. And the way we should think about this is I can look at this solution through two lenses. One is the functional view, the functional lens. And there I see an umbrella as a possible solution. Note that what I see as a product manager is very close to the way the market sees it. It's an umbrella. There's this technical view. It's different. They understand how it got built, what materials got used, but we need both of these. If the umbrella hadn't been invented, I would have to describe to engineering what it needs to do, what it needs to look like, that it should be round, it should be a dome so that the rain drips off of it. It should have a curved handle so I can hang it on things. It should have the little Velcro thingy, whatever that's called, so that I can close it when I'm done. And by now it should be obvious. The functional view is the domain of product management. The technical view is the domain of engineering. And you as a product manager may understand what's in the hot dog. You may understand some of the technical stuff, but your job is to describe the solution that will meet the market's problems with enough detail that engineering can implement it. That is their job, not to think about what the umbrella should look like, They shouldn't be thinking about the overall design, although they may have ideas and you should listen to those. Their accountability is taking what you describe as an umbrella and implementing it, creating something that can be put on the market. One last thought. We've probably all heard of this paradigm, the why, the what, and the how. We can look at any activity this way. I should understand why I'm doing it. I should understand what I want to do, and then how. So it's my birthday, so I want to, celebrate. I would like a cake that is chocolate that has vanilla icing. The how is something that a baker would go off and actually bake, but I can describe that cake from a functional perspective with a lot of detail, and I need to if I expect to get the cake that I want. I shouldn't just take a chef and say, go bake me a cake. The chances of their creating exactly what I want are very slim. So this is how it breaks down. You as a product manager are accountable for the why and the what. The what is a functional description of the solution to the problem, and engineering is accountable for the how. That means we can all have opinions, we can all have ideas, but if there's a tie on the why and the what, we can't agree with engineering, I win as the product manager. If we can't agree on the how, engineering wins by default. So I hope this has been helpful. The upshot is, if you want to be a successful product manager, you absolutely have to understand problems well, and you need a solid, detailed, functional idea of what should be built with enough detail that engineering can go off and implement it. Really. So what are the overall implications? Make sure you understand the problem. You have to straddle the problem and solution space. That's part of what makes being a PM so difficult. You're accountable for the what, and you have to describe it with enough detail that engineering can do it. What determines how much detail? Again, it really depends on your relationship with engineering. If you have a good relationship and they have the skills, sometimes you can give them just a mock-up or a description and you trust them to build it. More often, you have to be pretty specific about what you want, and you have to follow up with them. You cannot just hand over a bunch of requirements and expect engineering to do the right thing. That is why product management exists. Companies saw that that doesn't exist. I've seen big companies try it. They formed a group, they called it product description. They had some weird name for it, and they would just drop off requirements. They would go off, collect requirements for the next release. But when they came back after a few months, engineering had gone wild and built something that simply wasn't viable in the market. So I hope this clears things up. You can think about this, see where you fall, and I'm happy to discuss this